If you want to see how I got to this point, I'd suggest checking out 1A Auto Parts. They've got a YouTube channel that will show you how to take apart door panels and all kinds of things from cars. Pretty good videos. They show you all the steps. That's where I go to figure out how to tear things apart correctly without breaking them. Here you can see I've already done the GT mat, and I did that months ago. You can find GT mat on Amazon. I use their 80mm Pro. It's just your basic asphalt butyl aluminum sound deadener. I've got it on all of the doors on the truck now. Haven't done these panels yet. I will eventually when I tear apart the back and redo carpet and everything else back there. But so that's what the door looks like bare. See a little bit of how I modified the speakers. Put a couple in on the couple strips of the GT mat on the inner panel too to give it a little bit of mass, keep it from rattling. But what I'm up to is putting a little insulation. You notice the factory would have put a plastic sheet here, and that plastic sheet, it was old, it was ripped, it was torn. I took it off as part of the process because one of the things these doors don't do too well, and I guess this one's better than factory because you can see I did the interior door skin too, but what they don't do well is insulate. So a trick I picked up from those that do campers and shells is you get this. I've got a whole nother roll in the back. I've already done the first two doors. I did those months ago. Just now getting around to doing these two back doors and then the rear doors for the Suburban too. But it's called Reflectix, and it's available at Home Depot, $10 a roll. They've got different size rolls. I get the small roll like this. And you look at it, it's a Mylar bubble wrap type stuff, so very lightweight. And it'll both do what the missing factory plastic will do, and it'll provide a little bit of insulation layer. As I noticed when I drive up in the mountains and it's below 10 below or less, 17 below, whatever, when I'm up there in the high passes, I can feel that cold being sucked out right through the door panel no matter how high my heater's on, and that's kind of irritating. So putting this in, we'll see this winter if that solves that. Either which way, it's a little bit of insulation, doesn't do much for sound insulation. I'm looking for thermal insulation on this. And yeah, we'll see if it actually does the trick and keeps my legs from freezing while I'm up there in the mountains. But yeah, I'll shut you off right here. I'll get it installed and show you what it looks like in just a second. I figure it might actually be helpful to show which kind of tools I'm doing. Very basic stuff. You know, this Reflectix stuff is easy enough. You can cut it with just some regular scissors like that. I also like this aluminum tape. Again, you can see reflectixinc.com. But yeah, that's you can find it in the back of Home Depot where all the insulation type stuff is. I also like when I'm tearing any door panels apart to have a bag of these on hand, because no matter how much you do it, you will eventually snap these things. And just taking this one off, I probably snapped well, at least one of them, so I did pretty good this time. Only snapped one. But to pull those out correctly, a good panel tool. You can find these all over the place, Amazon, everywhere else. And obviously a good long screwdriver, because those two screws on the door handle are the only ones you got to pull out. Everything else is all these little snappers. I like having a good roller. The GT mat one gives you that wooden one. I purchased this one from Marshalltown. It's a good heavy-duty rubber one, which lasts better. I've heard people say these wooden ones will break. I don't know because I didn't really use them. And a good screwdriver for prying off that portion, which goes around the handle, but it's just the trim bezel. But yeah, those are some of the tools that I use just to pull this off. Real quick, easy job. So yeah, I'm gonna shut you off here, and then I'll get back once I've actually got the Reflectix up. So here you go with it installed. You make a cutout for the door handle, cutout for the grab bar, poke the wires that need to come through, and then you just use your tape. Use all of that tape just to stick it to the door, which means if you're gonna do maintenance, replace a window, motor, or anything like that later, then you've got the ability to put it back on easy enough. It's not glued by anything else. I would also note that you do want to do these cutouts for those plastic insert pieces. Make sure that those can go back in and clip your door panel in place. Probably a good time to mention too something else I've done with this door. You notice factory color is white. It's not white anymore. I masked off and did the entire doors up to and including inside the doors and down along the sill edges, and pretty much recoated everything with Missed there, a little bit of white peeking through. Didn't get enough spray there, but oh well. There were spots in places with this truck being 20 years old where it's starting to rust through, so I coated it with a Duplicolor bed liner spray. And that seems to be holding up pretty well. Should definitely cover up any of those spots where I found the rust. Definitely scrubbed them down first and then hit them up. I don't know that I even needed the roller with this. It quite simply presses and holds pretty well on its own. But try to keep within, because I can see the lines of where the door panel is at, so try to keep it within the door panels. It may have gone below right there, but oh well. It might peek through a little bit. I'm not aiming for show truck perfection on this. And you can definitely see where it rubs through here. The door panel sits pretty tight right there. But yeah, that's the installation of it. Since the speaker's still attached, I don't feel like dismounting the entire speaker. And when I did do my aftermarket speakers, I left enough so I could do exactly this and set the door panel down next to the truck. I just ran a slit across there. This should keep all of the weather interior to the door, because in extreme conditions the weather will come straight in from the opposite side. And that's why you have this plastic piece from the factory, which I'm replacing with this Reflectix, which should give me more thermal break and hopefully keep the truck warmer up there in the high altitude. But yeah, that's what the installation looks like. Let's put the door back together and see how well I did. See how much is peeking out from behind it. See if I kept it in. Alright, so there it is reinstalled. Didn't do too bad. I'm not seeing much peeking out. One thing I realized is I probably didn't leave enough clearance for this speaker. So I'm getting a bulge here that I can't fully close. Which means the speaker's bottoming out. I know I mentioned it before in other videos, but this used to be gray. You see other people's trucks like this, it's gray. And this will kind of give you an idea of how long that stuff will last. It's a, was it VHT's carpet and fabric dye. Does alright, but in a high wear area like this, where kids are going to be hitting it all the time with their feet and all, looks like it's time for a recoat. Down from this angle, you can see, yes, I did have some peek through. So just a little bit of aluminum tape. Don't think that's a big deal. Especially if I go and mask all this off again and then respray the carpet, that'll get turned black too. But yeah, there it is. And you probably saw a peek of the blue LED bulb that I have in there, little plastic ones. Thing to note is they will not directly fit into here. You'll have to, on the back side of this piece, actually carve that out a little bit. Dremel tool, little X-Acto knife or something, to be able to get that bulb to clearance and fit in. But otherwise, not a big job, not a big deal. Yeah, my panel fitment's not perfect because of how I did this speaker, but that is how I put a bigger than stock speaker in there. Not the most neatest looking thing, but it works for me. And pieces and parts of the panels do fit back in, but this stupid thing, yeah, you can see down in there I'm botting him out with the speaker. There's no room for it. Which means I should have kicked this out another 1/4 of an inch. Might do that some other day. I did have to hollow back the plywood block I put there to try to get this to fit, but it doesn't want to fit perfectly and stay in. I'm not a smoker, and I don't let the kids put trash in there, so oh well. Maybe someday when I'm feeling like redoing that, I will. But yeah, that's it. One door insulated, 3 more to go. So I've been having troubles with this window going up and down, and I find exactly what I'm worried about for the cause of it. Those pads came off. I didn't adhere properly. When I first did these doors, I tried the spray-in stuff, see what that works like, and it doesn't. Spraying stuff doesn't work at all, and obviously it doesn't let these pads adhere to it either. So it looks like everything's down there in a crumpled mess. I'm going to sort this out, see if I can put it back in. It doesn't feel sticky anymore. That kind of sucks. So there's one for you. If you're ever thinking about using the spray can sound deadener stuff inside your doors, don't do it. Just get the GT mat or the Dynapro or whatever else you want to get. The Hush mat, whichever brand you choose. I picked the GT mat. It seems to work just fine for me. It's a butyl asphalt mix, which makes it cheaper. And in case you're wondering, no, I've never smelt any asphalt on the truck. Here in Salt Lake it gets to be 110, down in Vegas at 120. I've never smelt asphalt in the truck. And this is after I did this in the spring is when I did all of this. So it looks like this is the one place I've had some failure. Lining is up in there where I also sprayed it. Seems to be sticking just fine. Yeah, that stuff's adhering. And just these stupid mats came off. The one right next to it stayed. So I don't know what I could have done differently. I waited till that stuff had been on for a couple months and dried. And then I went for the real mat. It just didn't seem to work. But word to the wise, don't use that stupid spray can crap. It's not going to work. So it was kind of a waste of time, waste of money, but how else do you find out these things? Find them out from me, right? Don't do the mistake I did. Now let's see if I can fix all this crap so my window will go up and down without problems. When the window malfunction, that's exactly what I expected to find. It sucks. But yeah, so get in there with a razor knife and slice the mats and try to put what's still adhering back in place. But after this long, they're not doing so well. So that's 3 or 4 strips of that just wasted. I don't know. It just didn't stick. Took off a piece of something that was in the truck already. It stuck to that, whatever that was. Realize it's all just recycling trash. And that one sliced off where it was sticking with the razor. And luckily, I think it didn't really mess with the window mechanism, so that should go up and down just fine. Don't wonder if I want to spray some grease on the track and stuff. Might do that to make sure it goes smooth. We'll see. Yeah, I figured I'd put a blip in there. Shows you what this stuff is. This is the wrapping you're looking for. Roll's about that size. But Reflectix small project rolls, what was it, 10 feet length, 24-inch width. That does pretty good. So one roll on a Suburban did 3 doors. So hopefully this remnant I got left there should be big enough for the back door, and then whatever remnants left in here, I'll probably have some left over still. But yeah, RV people use this all over the place. That I think is an interesting idea. It'd be interesting to try with the leftovers, see if it actually helps the cooler. But yeah, seems to be useful stuff. I've seen it used in garage doors a lot. But I've seen on YouTube where people making their own camper vans will put that inside the walls, try to give their van a little bit more lightweight insulation. So we'll see how this experiment works. At the very least, it replaces the plastic. At the most, it gives me the thermal performance I want. But yeah, with this, I don't think I can put stuff back in. I can't trust that it'll stay. It did on the other door, which is nuts, but this one, no. So I don't know. I was thinking about it. I have a couple sheets left, but you know, they say with enough on this, you only need to cover 25% of the surface to. And it's definitely not as tinny as it would be. And the stuff up top stayed. So we'll see. Maybe that is enough. It's not as much as I'd like. I wish it had stayed in like all the other doors seem to have. But you learn through your failures probably more than you do through your successes. And if you're smart, you'll learn from mine. Don't use that spraying stuff. So with the door marker lights, here's what I'm talking about. You see that base with these things is just a little bit wider. The bulb is just a little bit wider. So when you come down in here, you see I had to carve and clearance that out. And I hacked it out with an X-Acto knife, I think. But you carve that out and then it'll slide right into that spot like you need it to. You don't have to remove the door panels for this to get that bulb in anyway, because you can see these little pots here. You end up slipping it out. You can pull it out from the other side because there's just catches here and catches here, and you'll be able to pull that whole thing out by prying it from this end on the outside, and it'll come right off. And then another sheet in here too, a couple of them. They're adhering just fine. And all I did was, this door's dirty again inside after about a summer of use, but going up and down the mountains and into the desert, but all I did was Windex the heck out of these things, dry them off really well, and then rolled those pads on, and they seem to be okay. I'm hoping this is the only spot I had anything sticking out. It really does bother me. I hate wasted time and wasted effort. I mean, that's just me though. I might want to clearance that a little bit better. But yeah, I'm ready to tape it up and get it in. You can see I round off the corners, get everything done the way it needs to be. And yeah, get this one put back together. Now here's the back doors, and they're 10 times easier to pull apart, but if you know these Suburbans, you know this is not a stock back door panel. The cardboard crap that was on there was all coming apart and stuff, so this is just straight 3/4 ply. I cut and milled, routed off the edges and everything, and used some riv nuts in there with some hex head cap screws. Of course, this one shows where you have that problem every once in a while with riv nuts. You get cross-threaded and all that thing does is spin and spin and spin, so I'll be cutting that one off. Kind of pisses me off. Whole idea is to make it much easier to pull these panels off. And it's not really going to work that way this time when you get something like that with a riv nut. Yeah, same thing on this side, same panels. Underneath them there's going to be the same 80 mil GT mat, and I'm just going to take the inside of the doors and affix some of the Reflectix into it. But yeah, there it is. Let's get to it. Here's more proof yet again that the GT mat stuff does stick. So it's stuck to this door pretty well. I'll give you a close-up. Riv nuts. Focus, focus, focus. It's not wanting to focus. Here's another riv nut. There. That's the one that's cross-threaded and jammed, so just cut it off. It'll be out of my way. I guess I'll go with one less screw on the panel. It'll be alright. Riv nut there. Riv nut there. Using these, I think they were M8s, metric ones. Cap head. Don't lose them. What I like about them, if you can see that, so you use the hex for a little bit, but then they got the grip on the side, so you can actually twist them out by hand, as long as they're in there nice and neat. So I think what I'm going to do here is cut the sheet of Reflectix to fit, fold it up and stick it in through here, unfold it and tape it in place. Well, here goes. Wish me luck. So there it is in there. I don't know that I need to tape it at all because it fits in there pretty snug and it's not going to wiggle around if you move the door. I think I will just leave it like that. If I find that it bothers me later and I think it does need to be taped down, well, this door panel is a heck of a lot easier to remove than door panels on the other doors. Well, yeah, so this one I'm actually doing differently and put it inside the truck, inside the door panel instead of on the outside, because I flush mount the 3/4 inch plywood panel that I built. You can see I put some foam strip on the back side of them just to give them a little bit of gasket effect and make sure that I don't get any funny rattles out of that either. Nobody likes rattles, right? But yeah, that door's done. Let's button it back up. Alright, so that one, same thing, sits in there nice and neat, nice and tight. Since there's a lot more wires to the auto unlock mechanism in there, I actually took the time to find the holes and poke those through. But yeah, we'll see if this insulation does any good for me or not. Let me button this thing back up. Alright, there, both panels are back on. I was thinking while I'm here, might as well talk a little bit about the Duplicolor spray in bed liner. You can see scuff marks and nicks and stuff all over in it. I'd never use it in a truck bed. It did okay for this. It's in the back of my cargo area where I got my shovels and axe and a bottle of Febreze and tools and crates of other possibles that I might need while I'm out off-road. Yeah, that one's on. This one, I don't know if you can see it in this light. You see a whole series of nicks there. This stuff is no Line-X. It won't hold up, but for something like this, I think it does alright. I guess if I wanted to, I could take the panels down and take them to Line-X and have them squirt them with Line-X, but that would be the point. So this weekend will be the first time I'm going up in the mountains during winter type conditions. We'll see exactly how much this insulation does or doesn't help. I just know that when I'm driving and it's negative 17 below, that left leg can feel the cold coming through. So I am really curious to see if this actually does the trick. If not, oh well, it was worth it. At least on the front doors, it takes the place of that plastic that was there from the factory and keeps some of the moisture and water that can get up in through the drain holes from getting to the interior is bad. I mean, if you've done waterproofing before, you know water always finds a way somewhere, but yeah, we'll see. There's a quick project, interesting thing that you might try on your own vehicle if you feel like you need a little bit more insulation and you don't want to use a whole lot of weight. Till the next project.